So let's have a chill chat. Baroka here. Helps me calm down. So I decided to record this video now. And I actually initially planned to record it at a later time because I thought it would be more appropriate and let's just say healthy for me. And I've realized, or at least I've come to realize, that when that day would come, my interpretation and the way I view it would drastically have changed due to, I wouldn't necessarily say coping, but I guess the natural effects of time itself. Memories, if at least they don't fade, they tend to mess around with the details, whether we like it or not. It's just apparently a psychological thing. Okay, so anyways, sip first, sip. Kill the heart and it will never be broken. That was the motto or the mindset in which I not really view, but follow when it comes to anything relationship related. I always thought that relationships, I think I have briefly talked about this in one of my other videos, but I guess this is the more deeper discussion, or I'll dive deeper into that. I saw relationships as more of transactional, wherein if there's no apparent apparent contribution, no apparent exchange, no obvious, let's just say exchange. I have no other word for it. That's what a transaction is. I always saw it as a transaction. And you could arguably say that I think of love as conditional. But the thing is, the word I use is relationships and not love. And those are two different things. And as I have been lectured, quote unquote, by my senior high school friends on this entire realm of dating, talking stages, 3-month rules, and all those technicalities of quote unquote modern relationships, it does get very complicated, far more complicated than I originally already thought it was. In fact, the joke I usually give to my friends when talking about this revelation is that a 4-year program in college would perhaps not even be enough to explain the ins and outs of relationships. And you could more or less relate this to human psychology or psychosociology, something along the lines of those words. And it does very get interesting where two people who are really interested in each other try to make it and work things out. Two separate stories with their own respective flaws, lore, L-O-R-E, and experiences intersect at this point in time of their life, and they somehow click. And I need to sip here. I never really saw a good reason to get into it if I don't get something out of it. And I think I got this quote from Zom 100 by one of the female lead characters, I forgot her name, in which she says that love is an investment with poor cost performance. And I really like the word she used there. It's still an investment. She doesn't immediately regard it as something as useless, like a waste of time. But it does have poor cost performance in the sense that if everything does, if the investment does go bad, you would really lose a lot, like a lot. And we're not just talking about wealth and the things you spend trying to date someone or love them, but more so, I guess, aside from time, I guess that's pretty obvious, but you give a part of your heart towards somebody and they more or less kind of own you in a way already. That's what being taken means. And in some sense, you're also giving away your freedom. That's what being taken means. That's what belonging to someone means. That's what I realized when I had my experience. I can't believe I can actually say that now. And with that background or context, I can perhaps start na with the mindset that I went into that entire fray. Back to the original quote, kill the heart and it will never be broken. That usually worked most of the time for me. I'm really skilled at suppressing emotions just because of the nature of my childhood. I'll probably cover that, but I don't think, yeah, it's appropriate. And I guess I just had a soft spot for this person. She just tugged the right strings. And like not really. I've said on my Twitter, if you do follow my Twitter, if you're one of the followers there, if you're one of my followers there, I posted something about, I actually learned this from YouTube, give credit where it's due, wherein we grow to appreciate the love that's familiar, or rather we seek the love that's familiar rather than the love that is right. And I guess that familiarity, that sense of belonging and home, although doesn't mean it's home, doesn't mean it's safe. Yes. Okay. I'm taking my time. I'm gonna pause. Fast forward to when I actually decided to pull the trigger. I went into this around the month to 2 week analysis phase, considering whether or not this is actually worth pursuing because of the given circumstances and complications, in which I will not really go into now, and I don't think I would in the future na. But I basically made a safety net for myself. This is covered on my delusions video, where I argued that, or the Homer Council, the main 10, who actually made the PowerPoint, by the way, to really sum up everything. It was kind of a research defense in which I proposed to my close friends on Discord. It was pretty funny. They made this PowerPoint tackling every problem, statement of the problems, potential solutions, the drawbacks, risk assessment, the potential paths in which this relationship might sail. And the way I put it when talking about this multiple times is that in chess there's this thing called analysis engine, and the higher the depth, the more forward, the more moves ahead that analytical engine, or that, let's just say, bot looks ahead, and you can see the different variations in which a set of moves could go, and it would analyze which one is objectively better than this variation. And to some extent, I could say that in that point of my life, I have maxed out my depth of analysis. I tried to literally consider and plot out every possible route in which everything would go, and more or less I've boiled it down to 3 potential routes, and I wouldn't really want to mention it now, but I proposed that to my friend LL. Yeah, shout out to him. Took like 2 hours in our meeting spot, our chill spot, just talking about ways in which I could handle and manage those 3 primary routes that I was able to boil down into. So the point of that part of this, I guess, is I did not go into it blindly. I never go into things blindly. So for me to regret it would not only be a disservice to the experience, but a sign of disrespect and perhaps even betrayal to all. Not really betrayal, but why should I complain? Because if I considered every possible line or variation, then I would have saw this coming, or rather I did see it coming. And this is where the win-win argument comes into play, wherein I know this is messed up. People have called me out on this, and I am aware, and I take full responsibility. And AB, if you happen to be watching this, I am deeply, deeply guilty for what I have done. Where even if the relationship did end abruptly, or if things didn't really go our way, at least I would be broken hearted enough that I wouldn't believe in love anymore, to the point that I would be focused on completely something else. I wrote a poem on this wherein tear me apart so I would be forced to build myself back to build myself back into the pieces in which you've left me in, or something along the lines of that. Basically, I wanted her to tear me apart. I wanted her to break me. I wanted this to be a lesson. I wanted to learn. And more than that, I wanted to experience. Well, that's a more normal reason. But in most cases, if most people were chasing the highs of a relationship, you could more or less say the same with what I initially planned, in which I wanted something, in which I expected something. But you could say I'm a masochist for this, but I chased the hurt, I chased the pain, I chased the lows, the perhaps even the fights, even though I wanted basically to test myself. I wanted to see how far I could be stretched thin. I wanted to see how far I could maintain my composure and stoic mindset that I was trying to employ at the time. But because of that, I was compromising a lot. I forgot to set boundaries, and I really, in an effort to control every possible variable, I ended up losing control of everything else. And yeah, so the win part of the win-win argument, of course, the win part is us making it and, you know, happy ever after and all that. But I just put the lose, if it is a win-lose part, I just it's just a different framing. Basically, I've said to myself that if things really will go bad, because if these are the worst case scenarios that you've proposed me, like the Homer Council, we decided to already look into the silver lining, and I know for a fact that I saw this person to be worth it. Like it's going to be worth it, and I can definitely say it was. I never regretted a single thing. Perhaps maybe in the last few weeks in their stride or stint, I perhaps might have mishandled a lot of things, and I guess that's my limit. I kinda answered that for myself already. Now, I am definitely flawed in a lot of aspects. I still have so much to work on as a guy, as an individual, emotionally and mentally. Because I thought I had it. That is probably one of the biggest mistakes, not in terms of within the relationship, but as a individual, like as just me, is because I thought I was capable. I thought I had the mental maturity. I thought I understood everything. I thought with my logic and my looking ahead and analysis, and mix that up with a variety of my experiences and the way I see the world and all that bullcrap, I thought I'd be set. Like, no matter what she or what life throws at me, I'll be able to get my shit together and work things out. But apparently, I'm still a boy. And it took me a long while to acknowledge that. And I think it's okay, because that's part of the win-win argument. I had to learn. And I've stressed towards her, and I did explain this to her at some point, because I really felt guilty. It just got to me that at one point in our time together, I did actually consider making it, like actually pushing it towards the first win. Like if win-win, right? This win is the the win you'd expect, and this win is the delusional win. The whole, oh, if she breaks your heart, at least you'll be rebuilt into a man, and you're like engrossed in your passion or craft or whatever. You'll basically let work consume you. And that's what I'm trying to do right now. And although I do think it's unhealthy, I know she wouldn't want that. Like, really beat myself up for what happened. Because a lot of... Okay, I wouldn't... Back to the main part.